Hello, everybody. How's it going? Happy Friday to everyone here. Good to see those who are in the chat who might just be lurking today, and those who might just be working on a project. All perfectly suitable things to be doing. How's everyone? How is everyone? I know we missed last Friday. I hope everyone didn't miss the stream too much. Oh, my bad. But yeah, we had to miss last week's episode, so sorry about that. However, I was overseas over in the UK, which was a ton of fun. Um, so we didn't get anything on that end, but we did have a really nice YouTube video with our founder go out this week. So hopefully you're able to check that out, and that is who we are going to be interviewing today. So super excited about that. Um, but yeah, I would love to know what y'all ended up doing with your Friday last Friday when you were trying to fill the space during this time slot. Uh, for myself, over in the UK was super fun. Um, I can't really give the details on what I was over there for, but it's something that you will be seeing in the pretty near future that we're working on. So really excited to see how all of that turned out. Got to visit Newcastle, Durham, and um, London slash Camden, which is really really cool. Enjoyed all of it. I really like the architecture quite a bit in the northern part, so like Newcastle and Durham. And then when I went down to London, definitely that big city vibe, which was really nice. It didn't feel too culturally different compared to like the cities over here. But it was still nice to experience the people and the culture, and definitely not the jet lag. The jet lag has been the hardest part for me. When I got there, it wasn't too bad. Actually, I was able to manage pretty okay. And then now that I'm back, I think it's hit me a lot harder than I thought it was going to. So, good to see everyone. So, hello everyone in the chat. So, Starlit Stitches, good to see you. Carrie Elizabeth Art, hello. How is everyone doing? And might not be able to hear me right away if it is muted, but the show does by default start on mute, so you definitely want to get that changed if you haven't already. Okay, so we are going to be. That sounds like an awesome adventure. Yes, it was. It was the. I forget how much it takes out of you just to do like the traveling part. So flying and everything was. Flying was long for sure. Can't say I'm eager to jump right back on a plane now. So, yeah, how's everyone else been? Any travels been going on? I know with a lot of people that I'm in contact with, this seems like a decent time of year that people are traveling. So, we'd love to hear how that's all going. And then I can kind of go over the agenda for today and see and let y'all know what we'll be doing. It's a cool episode, so excited for everyone to be here. Um, Hello, Alea. Good to see you. And we're gonna let people still be like trickling in as we speak. How's it going, Alea? Good to see you. Thanks for jumping on by into the stream today. I'm actually gonna turn on my fan. It's a little hot in my room. But yeah, so the agenda today. Let's see here. We are going over some of the community posts that went live. So it's actually been a pretty bustling community section over on Ribblr these past um, two or 3 weeks. So good to see. It's always awesome to have so many people in the community so active as well. So thank you everyone who decides to be active on a week-to-week basis. We have a sweet roundup sharing about the winners from the last award since we didn't get to do that on the last episode. We've come up with a pretty cool uh, live stream idea of sorts, which is kind of on the ASMR side of things. So excited to show that off and see what that's all about. And then we have an interview with one of our founders of Ribblr. So it'll be pretty cool to be able to interview her. Although we work together, it'll be cool to like kind of ask those questions that some of you might have. And while we're doing that, you can also ask questions in the chat as well if you have something that you really want to ask. There's a lot that goes into starting a new business, especially a startup. So it'll be cool to give myself and all of you the opportunity to either ask or listen to learn more kind of on the behind the scenes of Ribblr during its infant stages and during this time as we continue to grow the platform. Along with that, you might have also seen the community post that entails all the new updates that we had on the website. It looks pretty clean. Just on like initial impressions when you come look at Ribblr, you'll probably notice a difference. It might be a little subtle on what it is, but some of the UX stuff looks different. So a bit less text than you're used to, and the corners are a bit more rounded, which I think is a little bit easier on the eyes. And then we have a lot of like accessibility stuff, which we'll be able to go over when we get to that portion. So yeah, really excited to have everyone here today. And then we can kind of jump right into some stuff. I think for most of you who are watching on Ribblr, perfect. That is like the place to be watching. Much easier to get to comments. So this is for those who are watching on YouTube right now. And anyone in the chat, have you been able to tune in to those like 12 to 24 hour live streams that we've been hosting? Have you seen what we're talking about? Would love to know if those have made an impression on you quite yet. Okay, so let's jump into it. So first of all, want to say happy Pride to everybody who celebrates and is part of the community. Hello, Wooly. Good to see you. Thanks for joining the chat. Thanks, everyone. So Pride. Happy Pride to everybody. I hope you've been able to find a way to celebrate, with your identity, being able to identify yourself in all these different ways is super important. So I hope you're able to find a way to do that. We've just now today dropped a community post on the website with a few Pride patterns, just a roundup. These are just a few of them. You can find double the amount on the roundup on the community post pinned to the top. So make sure to check that out if you're making anything Pride related. Some really simple and fun patterns in the roundup. I know it's like towards the end of the month, but Pride never goes away. So you can always still continue to make your favorite patterns and whatnot. And if you have a pattern that you would really like to recommend for others to work on, or even if you want to work on some of that self-promotion for yourself, you're more than welcome to do that as well. So you can definitely check out that roundup post. We'd love to see the recommendations that all of you have. So this was fun to put together. A lot of different colorful patterns, and although these patterns do have like the namesake Pride in them, there's a lot more patterns on Ribblr that kind of fit that color scheme of Pride. So make sure you are checking that out. Has anyone gotten started on your Pride patterns quite yet? I haven't done for myself very much like personal crocheting, so I'm out of the loop on that. But a lot of the options in the community post are definitely worthwhile to check out and grab. So if I were you, I would definitely go check that out. I'm sure that we can get the community post linked in the chat as well. Okay, so that's the Pride Roundup. So make sure to check that out in the community section and let us know your favorite Pride patterns. And then we are going to go over the award winners that we had for the month of May. I know we're going over this a little bit late, but since we didn't have a show last week, I figure now is the perfect time to go over these. Thank you everyone who decided to join in and cast your votes. We always have a ton of votes happening, so it's always a close race. So for anyone that didn't get, the winning selection, every pattern that's nominated is still a great choice. So never feel bad about that. So, okay. Definitely a small error on my end. This is saying March. This was for May, so in the back of your heads, definitely keep that in mind. So this is all for May. So for the patterns of the month, a lot of great patterns came to the platform. You've probably seen them all on the wish list if you're visiting frequently, and I'm sure many of you might have clicked them. So thanks for supporting these artists if you did. We have this wonderful, it's like a Loch Ness Monster cake pattern, which is super creative and cute by Yarntastic Charlie. Love the way this looks. So many details, definitely deserving. Unravel Land has this great piece. The shape is a diamond. That's what it is. This looks awesome. We always love to see more and more menswear on the platform, and honestly anywhere in the crochet scene or knit, crochet, fiber industry. So love to see that here. And then Amabi Abi has their tulip cow pattern. I think this pattern is so cute. It's always fun when they're on their bipedal. And Amabi Abi actually was the winner for this category, so the pattern of the month does go to her. It looks great, well deserving, and she had a freebie up last week, so you want to always make sure you're checking out our socials to keep an eye on all those free patterns that you could be getting at any time. You never know when a new pattern or freebie is going to drop, so always make sure you're checking out for the Ribblr Instagram, TikTok, and YouTube socials. So this is pattern of the month. Great options. Shop of the month for May. We have Fun and Cloud. A lot of amazing flower bouquets. Typically, it's very eye striking. So when you're on the site, it's definitely hard to miss. We have Chronic Creator with their shop. A lot of really cute amigurumi. This snake is really cool. Great photography, super bright and colorful. And then last but not least, we have Cozy Star Stitches with their shop. Some more amigurumi here. And I like how simple the shapes typically are in this shop. Another well-deserving amigurumi artist to be nominated. However, the winner for this category was Fun and Cloud. So great job to them. Amazing patterns here, the bouquets and everything. I would love, crochet flower bouquet never dies. So this is a perfect gift or project to work on for yourself or for somebody else. So definitely make sure you're checking out this shop. And then for our makes of the month for May 2024, these are all super cute and well done. Always have to love the craftsmanship of community members and what they're up to. So this all looks really great here. We have Bear Witch Art, who made this really cute. It kind of looks like a potato bear, so that's fun. Amizer 15 with this jellyfish. And then the winner was Baileyville with this super cute bunny rabbit in the dress. And then this pattern was actually written by Savagely Stitching. So you can check that out, create your own. This is kind of how it'll turn out. Did a wonderful job. Love seeing how these all turned out. So yeah, and these were the winners for the May Awards on Ribblr. Once again, thank you everyone for coming out and showing your support to everyone who is nominated each month for these awards. I know it's kind of the end of the month, so we're actually going to be quickly having our June awards popping up here soon. We'll go over that next show because that'll be appropriate at that time. But yeah, they all look really amazing. We agree, Starlit, all amazing patterns, shops, and makes. Thank you for the support on those. Hopefully you were able to cast your vote as well. And yeah, we can't wait to see all the new fresh faces and those who've existed for quite some time on the awards next month. So make sure to keep your eyes peeled for that. And sometimes they are running sales and whatnot after they win, so it's always worth clicking into their Ribblr shop and giving them a follow too. Okay, on to the next thing. So we actually had a pretty fun idea for kind of like a new content thing to make. So I do want to give you a glimpse of what this looks like. So for everyone in the chat, this might be kind of giving away my age here, but back in the day when DVDs were quite a popular thing, you may remember that like during its like idle screen, there was kind of a the screensaver had to go back and forth. We've taken a lot of inspiration from that, and now you can find a dedicated page for your own screensaver. So you can find this on mobile and desktop. The really cool thing about, I mean, there's a lot of cool things about this. So right now I'm showing off the screensaver on the desktop. I myself, I'm like pretty into like no, I'm not really like into ASMR, but like for some reason this does something for me where it's just really fun to just kind of, it's like relaxing to sit and watch and kind of wait for it to hit the corner. Y'all remember those days? Yeah. So we have something similar now. So if you are, you have an extra monitor or just want to chill out, this is a really great thing to kind of put up. It cycles through all the patterns on Ribblr. Almost at the corner there. So if you're on here on the home page, you can actually find this under ribblr.com/screensaver. I'll put this here in the chat. Yeah, visual ASMR. And the really cool thing is with this, if you're watching it and you see a pattern that you actually quite like, this is, oh, let's see if it's the corner. Hello, that was close. That almost felt like it did. But if you see a pattern that you really like while it's moving, you can actually click it. It's interactive, and it'll take you straight to the listing. So make sure to click it, and it'll go straight there. And then if you want to buy it or whatever, sometimes they're free, sometimes they're on sale, sometimes, usually it's just like the default price. So these are fully interactive, so you can click it and do that. This doesn't have any sound or anything, and there's no chat. However, if you've seen on the YouTube Ribblr, so like yesterday we had a 10-hour stream of this that was live, and we don't have any music quite yet, but we will be adding more and more things. So if you're looking for a place to like find new royalty-free music and whatnot and just have a visual ASMR, this is what we'll have for everybody. So it's pretty cool. I've found myself just kind of leaving it on my own monitor as well. Yeah, just been leaving on my monitor. Because I have 3 set up, so I'll leave it on one, and it's kind of just keeps me focused, or not focused, but I don't know. It's always just kind of nice to look over and keep me stimulated, I guess. I'm stimming. Yeah, so it's really cool. I'm glad that both of you find, or those who are commenting, like it quite a bit. Yeah, right? It's really easy to just zone out and like watch. Glad you think so too, Alea. So you can find this on the browser whenever you feel like. This also does work on mobile as well. So definitely more vertical, but this is still the same concept. And then would love for you to come check out the YouTube when that's live. Oh, it was so close to hitting another corner. When this is live, so that way you can listen to some music. Usually it's up, so one of the team members can also be messaging you in the chat as well. So it's always worth just sending a hello on the live stream as well. So yeah, so this is the DVDs. Really like seeing these. So before we jump into our interview, we'll go over kind of all the things that we went over quickly here. So close. I almost like don't want to take it down. Does anyone in the chat think that you'll be using this resource for finding ways to find new patterns or even just kind of keeping your mind occupied? I really like the idea, and we're excited to expand on it and make it more robust with time as time goes on. Okay, so yeah, so those are all the things. So we've gone over our Pride Roundup today, so make sure to check out the community section for that. Gone over all the awards, so if you want to see who won for the month of May, who was most voted, and also see all the runner-ups and nominees, you can go check that out on the community page. And then our DVD screensaver, which I personally think is a big hit. I think it's really, really cool, and I'm excited to kind of continue using it for myself. So we're making good time, so we'll jump right into our interview today. This is someone who is extremely important to Ribblr and all that you see on the platform and making the product come to life. Today, we are going to be taking the time to meet Lear, one of the founders of Ribblr. Really excited to have them join in on the fun today. We did have a YouTube video with this exact thumbnail that went live this week, so you can go check that out, get kind of like a slice of life take from her, kind of learn a little bit more about their life and like all things Ribblr, as well as some of the updates that happened this past month/week. So a lot of new interface updates. It's going to look a lot cleaner for people, much easier on the eyes. We have some faster loading and new animations when it comes to the loading. So the loading will be a bit faster for everybody. So feeling more and more robust in that regard. For the pattern cards, it has a new look to them, so you can check those out. New login. So if if you're ever forced to log out for whatever reason, you know how it is with a lot of these sites. I find myself getting forced out a lot. Or if you are logging onto a new device, that looks different. And then a bunch more other things that is kind of honestly more of a foreshadow for what is to come. So really excited to be showing all those things off. And then Lear also has a crochet shop too, crochet with Lear, that also has patterns available. And for the next 24 hours, you are able to grab this pattern, Maya the Gymnast, super cute humanoid amigurumi. So this pattern will be for free for anyone who wants to snag it up for the next 24 hours. So you can grab that. Super generous of her. So thank you so much, Leah, for doing that and offering that. And we can jump right into all our interview. So thank you everyone for being respectful. And if you have any questions in the chat, you can always ask. And we can ask those at the end after our rapid fire questions. So let's jump right on into the interview. All right. Hello, hello.
Hi, Vincent. Can you hear me?
I can hear you. Can you hear and see me?
I can hear you. I can't see you for some reason. I know
Oh,
what you
no.
look like, so I don't have to see you, but
Oh no, it should show. You're the first person I've heard that says they can't see me, I think. Let's see here. Let's see if I can get you to see me. It says my
on my end
webcam.
it just like shows like an eye icon with a line on it, like no. Oh, wait.
Oh, is that working?
I'm seeing another screen again with like an eye with a line crossing it over it, like no view.
Oh no. It should be showing. Here, let me do the camera thing. All right. It should come here in just a second. There we go. Does it show up now?
See? Nothing for me. Um, No.
Let's try one more thing, and if this doesn't work, then you might have to use your imagination when viewing me.
Yeah, well, I know what you look like.
Okay, cool, cool. Well, we have both of us on the screen, so if you need to pull me up, you can. But it's working for at least our audience, so I guess we'll have to go from here. But
Yeah, yeah.
thank you so much for joining us today, and taking the time out of your busy schedule as a founder for the company. There's a lot of different avenues that you could honestly spend days and days working on when it comes to Ribblr. But it's really excited to kind of introduce you to everybody in the chat. I know a lot of people see Ribblr as the namesake, but yeah, if you want to introduce yourself and a few things about you before we kind of dive into your Ribblr history.
Yeah, sure. I would love to introduce myself. I'm Lear. I have been crocheting. I started crocheting, I guess, wow, it's been over 12, 13 years, I think.
Wow.
Um, yeah, I was with my family on a trip to Italy, and we were like in, I think it was around Lake Garda, and we went in like a small town, and we went into a shop, and there was lots of like handmade stuff, and I've seen like a pair of earrings that were so beautiful.
Mm.
And I'm like, wow, this is really, really nice. And my mom comes in and is like, oh yeah, that looks like crochet. I'm like, what is crochet? I didn't even know that that thing exists. And like, yeah, it's sort of like knitting, but with like a different way to do that, like with one hook. And like, really, that exists. And always been a very crafty person. Like, I had art and crafts lesson like in school growing up. I really enjoyed drawing, and also come from a music background, so everything that has to do with arts is something that I really was passionate about. So when I kind of discovered something new, like challenge accepted, let's
Right.
go. So I tried to remake those earrings. So I tried to learn crochet specifically to try and create those earrings again. And I eventually made that happen. But yeah, it took me some time until I could do like micro crochet. But yeah, after a few months, I already kind of like started to make some accessories, like hats and scarves, and then I discovered amigurumi.
Mm.
And I'm like, yes, yes, that's definitely something that I would like to do.
Yeah, the
But yeah, I
micro.
think now I just like doing everything that has to do with yarn.
Yeah, that's. I mean, obviously you've taken it even above and beyond just the craft itself, and have made it like a platform that allows for so much fruitful creativity. Going micro crochet at the very beginning is such an interesting route for sure. It's that's like people's like, oh, one day I'll do that. Never like the
Yeah.
the beginning. Would you say that you were naturally adept, or like were you able to like pick it up pretty quickly, or was it due to
Uh,
practice that you were able to become so proficient?
I think it was due to practice. I mean, in the beginning, it was, um, I got like what I should have, like YouTube really helped me understand how to crochet. But there is that point where you do something and you don't really understand like wide, the wider picture. Like you can do it, but then you don't really understand how to structure things, or how to kind of like, there's lots of different methods: work in the round, work in a
Mm-hmm.
row, like the different things that you can like construct and make. So I was at this point, I'm like, how to make that something that actually becomes pretty rather
Yeah.
than just like crocheting. But yeah, I've had a lot of practice, and somebody that I knew who could crochet, um, like really helped me a little bit in the beginning. But once I like got into lots of YouTube tutorials on like specific, I don't know, projects, like the more projects I try to do, the more of my kind of like mindset and like frame of work got expanded. So like I understood more and more about what it is that I'm doing, and then I
Yeah.
could get more creative and start designing, because that's mainly my passion. So I like to come up with things and invent things. So it was you can't really do that before you have the skill set and like the tools to be able to come up with something and say, oh yeah, I'll just do walking around here, I'll do a like a circle, and then I'll do like straight like arms, or here I'll do a back and forth, or like it takes time to understand what it is that you can do before you can actually do that.
Yeah, absolutely. It's incredible after if you just do one different project, how much that kind of opens up like your field of vision on how to or what else you can do with it. Wow, that's amazing. So like you've gone from picking up the craft about over a decade ago to now kind of jumping into the tech space and taking your craft honestly to a whole new height that many people are just never going to do. Um, what was the kind of like to become a founder of a startup? What was kind of the light bulb moment of okay, I want to go from being a crocheter crafter to a pretty like a founder of a tech startup? How did that even yeah, for anyone who doesn't know, like what would be like the basic answer, then we can go into like the details on that.
Uh, Well, we can go into the details. Basically, my journey with the crafts, I learned how to crochet, and then I just enjoyed making things, and then I enjoyed like making lots of gifts for like family and friends, and really cool things, unique things that do not exist,
Right.
that are very specialized and personal, because that allowed me to do that, like crochet. And I tried to pursue a more creative like route for my career. And at the beginning, I was thinking, okay, maybe I will sell like handmade, crochet bits,
Right.
little like some earrings that I make, cushion covers that are cool and personalized. And I tried to kind of like start up an Etsy and post like personalized kind of like handmade different like homeware stuff and toys and dolls. And I found it really hard to stand out or to kind of like go about that. And then like I was kind of thinking, right, I actually come up with my own ideas and create my original designs so I can sell my patterns. I can just like learn how to write them, create the
Right.
files, and start selling the patterns so other people can make them. And it's also it's like something that I can make one time and sell it many times. So,
Yeah.
and for me, it gives me more like time to focus on like creating more and more different and unique things. So I started to explore and to kind of like figure out how I can do that. How can I be a designer? Like how does it happen? How you need to write your patterns, you need to create like a PDF, you need to upload, take pictures, take a video, upload to this platform, upload to YouTube, upload to so many different platforms that you can sell. But I found that it really consumed so much of my time
Yeah.
just to do the like admin and the PDF designing and taking the videos and the photos, and I was working on so many different devices and used so many different tools to do that, like to create that one thing. And then once it was done, I would have to kind of like go and individually upload it to so many different platforms, and every platform had its own like thing that you need to do, like a limitation, or it was such a like experience that was kind of very draining for me
Mm-hmm.
because I wanted to crochet. So I was sitting with Zar, who is my partner both in life and on the Ribblr journey, and another co-founder, and I was like, oh, I need to do this, I need to do that. It was like a lot of different elements and things that I need to do. And he was like, he comes from a more techie background and um, more his family, they all kind of like they're very tech oriented, and his father has done many startups before, and his brother is a developer. So he's like, why is it this complicated?
Right.
This can be done much easily, like more easily, if somebody had like it's a the the industry today allows us to create many different tools and tech solutions. for many different things, but it feels like nothing like that has ever happened in the craft space. Like PDFs have been invented like long ago, and they're not a file. They're like a they shouldn't be for like consuming something like that, like instruction. They're just like a printable file.
Right.
So why hasn't nobody created something that is specifically made for patterns to be consumed in a way where it lets you do all the different things that you leave a pattern to do? Like you leave the pattern to go find a tutorial for the stitch, or you need to like check it on a different platform. You need to kind of like print it and take it then on the go with you. You need to put it in the bag. You need to take the project. So it becomes really messy.
Mm-hmm.
And then we kind of like done a back and forth together, and came up with the idea of Ribblr, and together managed to build that and like create the platform.
Yeah, those. It's really cool that you were able to take those like woes and concern. I remember that was kind of how I felt when I was like, halfway through my designing career as well, like maybe like 4, 6 years in, and I was just like, oh my gosh, I feel like I only get to crochet like 30% of the time, and like 70% of it's like just getting it out there. And there's like nothing that's like giving you the tools or like telling you how to do it. You kind of just have to like good luck and figure it out out yourself. So
Yeah.
it's really really so awesome that Ribblr supplies so many like tools and navigation, and even like some of the new stuff, even in the new update, like you brought some more improvements. Do you have anything that you can tell the audience, like that, if they've never heard of Ribblr, like what are some things that they can find right off the bat that Ribblr offers that you no longer have to like go scour the internet for?
Well, I guess that everybody, at least on the Ribblr show, like on Ribblr, I guess know what Ribblr is. But I would say the for me personally as a designer, even like now when Ribblr is my job, it's my work, and I do like I'll do different things for Ribblr every day. But sometimes for myself, when I sit and like I design something and I'm like quickly as a designer, I just like open like a new design on my shop, and then I just write it as I go. Where
Mm-hmm.
before I had like a million different notebooks with notes like on different patterns all over the place. I didn't even know what belonged to what. And for me to just like create the pattern on the go, and then it's ready to be published and sold, and like or given for free depending on the pattern. But for me, just like it saves so much time where I write everything and it's ready by the time I need to release it. I take the pictures directly, and I use my phone, and I just like open the pattern. I take the picture. I I take a video if I need to. I
Mm-hmm.
write everything up, and it saves me so much time. So that like sometimes I would just like use Ribblr and like, wow, wow, this is really fun for me to do.
Yeah, it's hard to even like I've like tried, during my time with Ribbler, like try to like design patterns outside of Ribbler just out of habit, and it just feels like kind of wrong. I guess now like it I almost feel like I'm just like it's like what's the point of doing this when I have like all the tools to make this more efficient? Yeah, that's really cool. And you have accessibility things too. Like Ribbler has the videos where you can watch it flipped as well. Um, and you added like a new icon for that, correct? In the new update?
Yeah, we've used to have it before in the accessibility features, like in the general settings of on Ribblr. But now we sort of like figured out like it makes sense to be more part of the experience, because you might not even know that you can, if you're left-handed, then you can view the stitches and the videos like flipped, and then it's like
Mm-hmm.
more tailored to a person like who is left-handed. So that even just adding the icon in the preference within like the interactive pattern itself makes it more accessible, like for people who use left hand to know, oh, I can do that, like to give them the like the education, because they might not even know that. I mean, there's a lot of different features on Ribblr. Sometimes I even forget how many features, like, oh, we
Yeah.
can do that. It's like, but yeah, I mean, it's just really for us, it's just like taking the minute to think about the journey of different people that come up to Ribblr, and what are their kind of hurdles and what like might be bothering them, and then to tackle it like one step at a time and trying to tailor the experience and address all different crafters, and make it as personalized as possible.
Yeah, those pain points can be kind of like the make or break on why someone wants to continue crocheting or not, for sure. Um, wow, that's like so amazing to see. I say that genuinely as like not even like as a biased employee, but as someone who as a crafter myself who has those pain points, and it's just like okay, like yeah, that's pretty amazing. Did you see it where Ribblr is now? Did you see it becoming this when you first started, or has this kind of exceeded what that roadmap looked like, or are you on track, or how are you feeling
Uh,
personally?
I feel we're on track. I feel that we've reached like I feel that yeah, I imagine that it is going to get where it is now, but I couldn't like if I kind of like think back, I didn't really know how it's going to turn out. Like I hope that it would be like this. And I kind of like had it in my our plans, but it's sort of like when you're looking back, you feel like yeah, it's like it's been such a journey. Then like if I put my mindset back into the years of like 2020, they would be like okay, let's see how let's go. Like, okay, let's make Ribbler something that people like to use. So yeah, that's where I was.
And that was so you had the idea and framework for Ribblr pre-pandemic, and now you.
Yeah, we worked on it just as the pandemic hit. I mean, we were traveling in Japan right before we started working on Ribbler,
Mm.
because my sister actually used to compete. She was doing tumbling, like gymnastics.
Oh, cool.
And actually, the free pattern that I'm giving away today is like based on her, Maya. My sister name is Maya, and she's a gymnast.
Oh,
So
that's cool.
yeah, yeah. So we were in Japan because she had like the world championships, and it's such a like long way to travel. So we were like, okay, let's travel a little bit. And right when we got back, is like she competed in like the Olympic stadium that they've built for that summer, like for the supposed to be Olympics
Yeah.
before COVID hit. So I
Wow.
was there right before like the lockdown started, and there was no Olympics that year. And then like when we got back, we started working on Ribblr, and then poof, lockdown, everything started to happen. And it, to be honest, um, it really, because the work and creating, like starting the startup is so intensive, it kind of like helped us in a way that we didn't have a choice but to be locked into our kind of like office apartment. And then we're like,
Right.
well, let's work on Ribbler then. So it really gave us sort of like you know, we kind of like, if we're locked in here, might as well be very, very productive.
Yeah, definitely. I obviously the pandemic was, hard and strenuous on a lot of different aspects, but I think a lot of people it's pretty unanimous in terms of like the crafting scene. There was quite a bit of like improvements and just like influx of people who came into the space because I mean we were all nothing else to do besides work on our hands or scroll social media was all we could do, and a lot of people
Yeah.
chose the prior. What was like going into the pandemic and like launching this thing during it? Did you see it as like, oh, this is like, was there like any bit of like nervousness that, oh, maybe this isn't the right time, or did you feel like this was the right, like this was perfect
Um,
because everyone was chilling at home?
uh, I wouldn't call a global pandemic perfect because it
Oh,
wouldn't
not the
be,
yeah, but timing
yeah,
wise.
but the timing was, I guess, um, good for us
Mm-hmm.
because, as you mentioned, lots of people started to pick up crafts, and obviously when you're in the beginning of your journey, like whatever you have, like the tools that you find out like in the beginning might like last longer.
Mm-hmm.
So whether for like if like for some people that are already kind of like more settled in their crafting journey, of course I would love to have them on Ribblr, but they might know, like they might have their already like set routine of how they are doing their thing. So
Mm.
yeah, for me it was really great to find like those um to find that I can introduce more accessible crafting to the younger audience of like beginner crafters. And like it was mainly crochet at the time that really became popular, like over on TikTok, and
Yeah, yeah.
really sort of like was on the rise. Poor knitting is kind of like a little bit in the backseat, but we love it.
I mean, knitting's always had the, limelight for, I mean, as long as I've lived. I mean, still people are like, "Oh, what are you knitting?" when I'm clearly, not knitting.
Crocheting.
So, it still has its weight to it. But yeah, I'm sure during the pandemic when there was so much content all over the place, that having a dedicated space like Ribblr was perfect for all those newer crafters, especially. Being able to have all the resources kind of at hand and in one place.
Yeah, it's been for me, for me it was the right timing. But yeah, I mean, I wouldn't call something like a pandemic like good, but at the same time, it really helped me and us over with the team achieve our goals much more like quicker, like more
Hmm.
quickly and more efficiently.
Yeah, it was terrible to have a pandemic, but there are some things that come out of it. Like people now wash their hands more than they used to, so that's always, it's kind of disgusting how many people weren't washing their hands, but that's a whole other topic, I suppose. But now that things have kind of settled and whatnot, and the world's kind of learning to live with it, Ribblr is outside of like a terrible thing that happened. Ribblr is still on the rise, and it's still very popular. Um, would you would you say that like you've noticed a popularity in interactive patterns and kind of what people are looking for over PDF, or do you feel like interactive patterns live alongside PDFs? Where do you stand with like the tech side of things?
Oh, well, I might be in an echo chamber because, I might be biased. I do think that I see more demand for interactiveness. You know, Progress never stops, and phones become faster, and, we have more and more tools. We have like more support for, artificial intelligence that kind of like helps tailor experiences and to focus the way we use tech.
Yeah,
So with all of the advancements, it's hard to kind of like go back to something that is very limited, like a PDF. And it's
very.
hard to produce. Again, for most designers, like some of them, yeah, get like other people that would edit their design. Some use Canva, which really helps in terms of designing. But again, as on the consumer side and on the designer side, it's still a bit of like a learning curve of creating and consuming patterns that all look and come in different formats. So yeah, so I do see that interactive patterns have definitely have their space and they're on the rise. But again, I might be biased.
I think the interactability is important. I mean, you see it like kind of all over the place, like being able to just add a few things that you feel like the experience is personal and tailored towards you rather than just, like it's like even something as simple as like when you're on a platform and you are just making everything clickable, I guess is kind of like the important part. It makes you feel like we're kind of closer and closer to tech, which we'll see what that all looks like in a couple of years for sure, with like everything happening in tech. But you as a designer, we've been talking about Ribblr, the platform itself. We'll talk a little bit about you. So you are also, on top of being a founder of the company, you also crochet, like you said, and you design. Do you have any projects that you've worked on that you feel like is kind of like your, like the golden star of everything that you've ever worked on, or does everything kind of feel like a culmination of you?
Well, to be honest, I think my most like the top of my work, the peak of it is
The peak.
designs that I designed for Ribblr actually, and not
Oh,
for
nice.
myself. So the chunky slippers, I think,
Mm.
um, I'm like my most like, original and fun work. They're just so fun and cute. And inspiration came from like growing up. I used to really love the very chunky, like stuffed plushy slippers. My aunt used to have like what were they? I think they were either dogs or they're like Garfield or something.
Mm.
And she used to really like play with like her feet and like in the slippers and with me. And I really enjoyed that the whole experience. And I had like a soft spot for like chunky, kind of like a stuffed plushy slippers. And I really wanted to make something like that. And I think as like chenille and chunky yarn became really popular over the pandemic, it really kind of like opened my eyes to using that. And I thought it would be really great with like slippers format. And it took me some time to kind of nail it and to figure out the sizing and the constructions. And I wanted to make it like obviously it's intermediate, so it's not 100% like easy for beginners, but I didn't want to make it too complicated. Um, yeah, and I'm very proud of that design and like all the slippers.
Yeah, I feel like, I mean, those things are like iconic at that point. I would say a lot of, I mean, I would assume a lot of people almost see it as like synonymous with like Ribblr as well. Like it's kind of become like an iconic design for the the company. I mean, if you're on our socials, you've probably seen those slippers go viral more than once. Every time they get posted, people have a clamoring for them, and they are exclusively on Ribblr as well, as free patterns. So if anyone wants to grab those, you can, and you can, you know, you get to meet the creator of the said patterns, which, yeah, I don't. How does it feel to kind of like feel like you've hit your like peak design? I mean, that's like, does that feel good? Does that feel?
Um, I am very proud of the slippers. I wish I would come up with more, designs. To be honest, I like working on Ribblr is very like I'm very dedicated to that. So I find that I can't really design as much as before. I do try to design when I can. I have like some, actually that's knitting, but because I don't want to, do just crochet. I want to also give like some knitting patterns out. But yeah, I mean it's hard to balance like the amount of time that you have during the day and to split it. And yeah, I want to give like my attention to Ribblr, but also I love designing. So
Truly not enough hours in the day. I mean, like
yes.
having to like work and your personal life, social life, parenthood, I'm sure goes, I can't even imagine, like truthfully. So yeah, you have a lot on your plate, and it's really incredible everything that you achieved, still achieving, and the constant updates that come with Ribblr. And this episode kind of started because we had a big update. Do you want to give the people in the chat? I skimmed over it a little bit, but do you want to let the viewers know kind of what they can expect from like the new update that just came out, and if you want to give any sneak peeks of what's to come, but we can mainly focus on May or June's update.
Right. So we over on Ribblr, we have known like from the beginning that because we wanted to like get the idea out, that we are going to prioritize just getting the app like and make it and get it into crafters pockets like on their phone.
Right.
And like during the journey we were really excited and fueled by like users suggestions and like ideas for features, and we really put out so many different things like in the 4 years that we're like almost 4 years that we've been out. And at the same time, because we've kind of like put lots of different features out, we kind of neglected a little bit the experience and the usability
Mm-hmm.
of the app and the website. And we just really want to make sure that all the different features and the experience and the smoothness and everything is, we look at everything and try and come up with like more holistic, approach of what is the best way for people to actually use Ribblr.
Yeah.
So we are now working on a huge project of making sure that we tackle all those different things that in the experience might be not the best. And there are elements of Ribblr that really need some TLC. So now we kind of like want to slowly introduce them. So Ribblr gets like a new, maybe a little face tuck, maybe just like to present itself slightly more,
The Botox
kind
of
of like
Ribblr.
iron out some kinks, make it more smooth and make it kind of like more fresh, and more user friendly. So we have received some feedback from different crafters that like they can't really find something, or it's a bit confusing when you click here, when you click that, and we understand, because again we wanted to make so many things to make crafting more easy or more innovative,
Mm.
and we were really excited about it. But at the same time, we need to make sure that the experience overall is something that people enjoy as well. Like that everything is easy to find, that everything is like faster, that everything is more responsive.
Yeah.
So little things that you don't really notice them until you kind of like think about it. And you think about it, and it's like, yeah, the search was a bit jumpy, like choppy. So now the search is much more smoother because the way it's refreshing and the way it's like already searching as you're typing what you need is much smoother and much more, intuitive. So a lot of different like things are going to slowly be introduced in the way that you experience Ribblr. Maybe we'll also kind of give an update to our logo as well. So that's something to look out for in, you know, upcoming few weeks. And some more gamification, maybe with may or may not include a certain mascot that we have. Yeah. So a lot of fun things coming up.
Yeah, I mean, I personally am able to confidently say that what Leah is saying is definitely backed by truth and very exciting. It'd be super fun for you if I'm not sure if you're able to do it, but like to go back to that like very first, launch of Ribblr and like see what that looks like and feels like compared to like now after all the updates and whatnot. That must be that would be pretty trippy to see what that looks like.
I sometimes look at like old content that we have from 4 years ago, and I'm like, wow, so that's what it used to look like. Yeah, I remember that. I remember, but yeah, it feels like such a long time ago, but it's not actually that long ago. Like,
Uh, yeah, I mean, if you compare, especially the lifespan of Ribblr compared to these other like giants in the industry, I mean, you're still got those, you're still wearing the diapers, you still have the training wheels, like, and which is awesome, and it's amazing that I mean, it kind of feels like Ribblr is like kind of like super genius, but like in a toddler form in terms of just time that you've been alive, which is amazing, because Ribblr offers so much more than other platforms, and even being able to take feedback is like such a huge thing that Ribblr does to take kind of like a step away from the corporate fat cats of the world. And that's what you said that you did. Some of the updates came from suggestions. For people watching, is there a way for crafters and users, designers to make their voices heard and known?
definitely. We are always on the community tab. So if you either post or send us a direct message on the community, our user is just like Ribblr. We always log in like every feedback that we get, and we have the team kind of like look at it and decide if it's something that would help elevate the experience. A lot of the times we get suggestions for things that already exist, but people didn't know that they exist. So it's like, good job on that. But yeah, for sure, we love to hear from our community. We also um, like read lots of like conversation and like things that people post about what they would like, and we learn from that. So it's not just like feedback that is submitted directly to us, but maybe like just like the notions that we get from experiencing what our users write about, like when they make like their posts. And yeah, feel free to hit us up.
And I think that that alone will like it puts Ribbler in such a good spot to like, that's always like the big problem that we have with these like companies that are we feel like are detached. Like, obviously the community has a lot to say, but then they'll do kind of the opposite. It seems like Ribbler has really stayed kind of like true to its word and like really made people listen. And it's always kind of felt like it was more for the crafter ever than it was ever like let's grow this thing. I think, as someone who wasn't with Ribblr at the very beginning during its founder stages, and I've been able to see it grow from inside and outside, and hear a lot of feedback that really seems like the direction it's going. Have you seeing feedback and like ideas? Have you had like those like light bulb moments of like, oh, actually, yeah, that's a genius idea? Should I? Yeah, for
Yeah,
sure.
so many times you wouldn't even like a lot of different times we were like somebody would suggest like an idea and we're like, yeah. But a lot of the times it might be for us maybe not too big to handle, but you always have to prioritize. That's the hardest part. Like I want everything on Ribblr, but we all have limited like time in the day and resources. So you can't have it all and just like, do it all at the same time. So you have to kind of like, okay, what comes up next? What is like the roadmap? What does it look like? So there's a lot of kind of like a long game strategies that you have to take. So a lot of the times we would take feedback in and would save it like for when the time is ready or when we can, like when it's like right in the timeline. Yeah, so that's like a difficult thing to do, but you have to learn how to do that.
Yeah, not all of us know how to do the like the tech side of that's like probably the most important. I mean, yeah, having a vision is really important, but unfortunately, not all of us can like implement it in our own time. So, we have as many hands on deck as we can. But for you, since you were the founder, you had the vision, like you see the product. It's 2024 now, so your hats have changed quite a bit, as many people know startups tend to be. Where is your passion? Like, if people think about Lear from Ribblr, like where are you putting most of your time, effort, and kind of energy into the product, or like Ribblr itself, since there's so much to it?
So it's you said it in like your questions. It's
Oh,
the product. So the product design, the product usability, and the innovation around it. So to make Ribblr a product that everybody wants to use and have to use because that's their go-to tool for designing or for crafting or for being inspired by lots of different things or to meet with other people and connect with other people or to post tester calls and to kind of like be active and passionate and to provide like a space for them. This somebody needs to make sure that the experience is something that everybody's happy with and that we know what we're doing. And yeah, the product is where my passion lies, like designing the product.
so that means everything that you see on Ribbler came from your headspace. So you must have had a big hand in like the testing zone stuff as well.
Yes, yeah. Obviously, you need a designer's point of view because,
Definitely.
well, yeah, testing is a very much designer focused tool, and it's really fun that it's easy on both ends, like on the tester and the designer side to kind of like both be protected and have fun, like testing, and like everybody gets their own like benefits from that. I think that it's really important that everybody will be happy with a process.
Yeah, I think Ribbler. Like, I mean, I know typically with like the marketing and things people talk about are going to be like the patterns and like the marketplace part of it all. But I feel like the pattern testing zone is like light years ahead of literally anything else that exists. I mean, everyone's kind of doing it in the most unorganized and kind of janky way. You have to have, I mean, it's kind of a nightmare, honestly, to do testing. But once you're on Ribblr, like it's nice to have all the communications, the pattern, the even just the authority of like your intellectual property all in one spot. Yeah,
Yeah, and I would say
that's
the
cool.
best thing about it is the protection for the pattern.
Oh, right.
Because a lot of the times it happens with designers where they send their PDF and it gets stolen and reposted and republished on different sites like
Yeah.
piracy. And it happened to me. I found my patterns on like pirated on different, craft websites where they like, get and post them for free. But with this you can protect your design because the pattern is only on Ribblr and but like and it's only accessible like for Ribblr users, and then on the users that you allow to test your patterns you can remove them so they will not have access to the pattern anymore. So if they're abusing it for some reason, or if they're not complying, or if like you are not sure about them, you can just like remove them or block them from even like submitting to test for you. So a lot of different little things that makes you feel much better about your testing goal and the journey, and the fact that it's all in one place and like you have full control is really something that is not available anywhere.
Yeah, the piracy thing is actually such a. And we were talking about a pandemic earlier, but like we have like an epidemic within the crafting space for sure when it comes to theft. I've been designing for quite some time, and I go to Pinterest and I see a lot of my patterns being sold. I even just got a link saying my book is being sold here. I'm like, it's unfortunate, and it's become one of those things that no one's really tackled. It's all, I mean, you have like you can get your community members to report and do all these things and reach out to these companies that are probably just like not going to see your email, and it's really disheartening. I know a lot of people say that's like the reason that they won't design is for that exact reason. People become jaded. Myself, I become so jaded I don't even bother trying to get them reported. I just kind of take it as, oh, that's just part of it. So it's really awesome to see Ribblr like making such a huge step and like putting your foot down and saying like this is like not normal like to get stolen from.
Yeah,
Was
yeah.
the privacy was like preventing theft? Did that was that like kind of stumbled upon because it just happened to work that way, or was that like was that it planned out for yourself?
So that was planned out. Well, we didn't have the testing zone when we started, but the interactive patterns, the fact that they can't be kind of like pirated, they are not a PDF form that you download and re-upload to somewhere else, because
Right.
you can only access your library on Ribblr. So if you log into the app on your phone, or if you open like and log in on your computer, you need to put in your login details and you have your patterns on Ribblr and you consume them on Ribblr and using the Ribblr, facilities like the app. So you can't just like send it over like in a mass, email group,
Right.
or like send it to all your friends. Like it doesn't work like that. The concept of the pattern doesn't work like that. So it was protected from the beginning in that sense, but then when we started to come up with like our testing tools, we also wanted to protect it like even farther more. Um, so the designers will have control over like the testing process as it like goes, because once you send out a PDF to someone, a tester, that's it. Like they have it,
Yeah.
so they can abuse it if they choose to, but not if you can remove it from them. So that's what we allow to our designers to do.
Yeah, that's amazing. And although I know people are like, oh, you can like copy it down or like take screenshots, it's adding more steps than just having it. So it's kind of like a seatbelt. Like although it doesn't eliminate it, it does reduce the amount that it happens. So yeah, that's really important. And
Exactly.
honestly, Ribbler is doing great work on it. I feel like if there were some sort of like Nobel Peace Prizes within like the crafting space, Ribbler definitely deserves
Oh
some
no.
sort of acknowledgement with what they're doing for that kind of stuff. um,
Oh, thank you.
well, we've talked all good things here. I mean, I guess well, the positives on how you're preventing theft, but for you as a founder, not everyone's gonna have that tech startup CEO mind like that kind of lifestyle. What are some of the challenges that you faced in the past and that you face currently with maybe juggling things or just you're a human, so
Yeah.
you have something bigger than yourself. Like, what are some of those challenges look like?
Well, it depends when during the journey. I mean, when we started, we were way more intense, and we used to work like more than a full day of work. So
Right.
more than like 12 hours into the night. We would do a lot. We found that it was we were really drove by our passion to like for creating this, and we couldn't like disconnect. And after a while, even though we really felt like fulfilled by everything that we started to achieve, we really needed to create some work-life balance. Because yeah, as you should. Um, and but it's hard to keep a track on that because sometimes you would say like set boundaries, like okay, I'm stopping like this work like at this time, and we're having like dinner, and we kind of like relax, or we watch a movie. But then, oh, there's just like that one email that came in, and this partners over there, they need some help now, and we work in different time zones as well,
Mm,
like from because we're based in the UK, and a lot of our partners and yourself, like when we work together, we work in different like time zones, and we have team like very global team over like more in Asia, and then in the Caribbeans, and in the US, and in Canada, and in the UK. So we kind of like things can get like you can get out of a routine or like your planned and optimal routine very easily with like, oh, let me just like finish this little thing and then
yeah.
I'll be available. And it's just like a game of like you overdo it, and then you need to kind of like bring yourself back and add some balance into your life, and then again you reach that line again, and it's close to the danger zone, then you need to bring yourself back to that balanced point. So yeah, there's a lot of that throughout the entire journey. It happened a lot.
So would you say at this point you're able to, that you since you've been doing it for quite some time, is that work life balance easier to kind of juggle, or is it still something that you have to mindfully think about?
it it is easier. In that time I also like have a toddler now, so we started, she wasn't here, and now you're sort of like forced to take the time off to be with your kid. So and I love doing that, and I'm happily doing that, and I will prioritize her over Ribblr. I'm sorry, Ribblers. But I love Ribblr, but I will prioritize Ribblr over myself. So I will still feel that because it's my baby as well, Ribblr. So yeah, it's a different work-life balance juggling because you want to give like from yourself to someone else. But it's still hard to do that. But you the more you do it, the more used to it, and the more you kind of like pick up on the signs where you feel like you need to reach back to that, like to find your balance again. If your body kind of calls to it, you're like you need a reset. So
Yeah,
yeah.
you must be more in tune with like all your internals, really. What when you are able to kind of get some time, like some straight up Lear quality time, what do you like to do for fun to kind of feel getting some enrichment in your life?
uh Watch some shows, watch some anime, crochet in it, because like for fun, not
For
not
fun,
for
leisure
regular.
stuff.
Yeah.
That's it can be rare. And I know you also, for those who don't know you, you do have a little bit of a music background. Um,
Yes.
Are you typically like trying to find new music or anything, or do you still play, or where are you on the music life?
Um, well, I had to kind of like put my music life on a little bit of like hold. I was working on some project um, before Ribblr, but I kind of like, okay, I want to really make that happen. But definitely once I'm more able to, I will put more attention into like finishing those projects and to do some more music.
Heck yeah.
Yeah, I feel the urge, but yeah, in listening to music, I'm a very nostalgic person. I don't know, like I've always been. So I do discover newer music or new to me music. It doesn't necessarily have to be new,
Hmm.
um, but it's new to me. I do discover some music, but I very much love to go back to my like comfort music or musicians that I or already know that I love listening to.
Yeah, I hear that. There's some albums I'm just like stuck in that. But that's okay.
Yeah.
I mean, music is timeless. It's not like it ever goes bad. The only thing you ever really notice is the influences of that era and probably production. Like the production of like the older music can definitely hit differently. I for myself, the
Well,
early 2000s rock music was always so funny. It sounded more like you were in a garage compared to like now, where it's very overproduced and sometimes.
to be honest, yeah, I prefer that. I love when I hear the room in recordings.
I
Like
do
I love
too.
it
I
like
do too.
in 90s music where you can hear mistakes. I don't like anything to be too perfect. I like when it's kind of rough and messy.
Yeah, I like the raw sound too. I really like the raw sound instead of like the overproduced. I can't even hear the layers anymore. It's all just very
Yeah,
one big one.
and I really do not agree with over Vocaloid kind of like auto tune where you can hear that the person was barely hitting the notes and it was all corrected for them. I can't, it really, ugh, it stirs
Yeah,
me up. I'm like, no.
definitely a difference when it's like a creative decision compared to just like, well,
Yeah,
let's just
yeah,
like
yeah.
cover it
Yeah,
for
I agree.
sure.
I listen to like Sufjan Stevens and he does that a lot where he uses like the Vocaloid and like the autotune for on purpose, like to make it
Yeah.
sound like it's autotuned and like with a different kind of like melodies. And I like that because it was in like with like musical taste, like it was set like selective. He chose to do that, but it's not like he needed to correct his singing in to a point where you can notice that it's a computer singing, you know?
Yeah, I mean, now we have to watch out for like the AI artists. Well, not watch out, but something to keep in mind. But I think that's a good segue when you say that like you don't necessarily like when it's perfect, and you can really appreciate those mistakes. And what you were saying about Ribblr earlier is you weren't really aiming for perfection, but you just wanted something out there in the pockets of people, and then you can kind of work on it from there.
Yeah,
I feel like
exactly.
that's been such a holdback for people. Is like they're always waiting for that big moment of perfection when a couple years pass and that perfection wouldn't have been perfect anyways at that time it would have released. So it's really cool to see a company just like okay having some faults, some difficulties, and working on it from there, making people feel heard. um,
Yeah.
do you feel like you've before that you've always been that way? Like have you always kind of has perfection ever held you back, or have you always been someone who's okay with like growing and making those mistakes?
I think the latter. So I- I've always when I've had an idea, I wanted to just like get it out. Like I wanted to make it real. I'm very like I wouldn't say impulsive, but a little bit impulsive. I can say that. I'm a little bit impulsive. Like I would think, oh, I want to get my haircut, and then I'll do it like the same day or the day after. Like I need it now. I need to get it done because I had an idea that I want a new haircut, and I would just do it. Where I know some people kind of like postpone it and debate it and think about it and schedule and like I'm just
uh,
very quick to decide and to move on like and to move ahead with doing something. Yeah, I think I've always been like that, very decisive. Like, okay, I want this and I'm getting it now.
It's shocking you don't have tattoos. I feel like that would be like the mindset of someone who would have a bunch.
I, I guess that if I wanted to have tattoos, then I would be very, yeah, it would be very bad for my pocket. But I never had that kind of like draw for myself to. I just don't like the permanent, like
The
having
permanent.
something permanently on my body because I'm really like I like change a lot. Like I've had, like I like to change things. So knowing that something will have to stay without the option of kind of like changing it, for me, it's like it stresses me out a little bit. I'm like, what if I don't like it anymore? If I want something else? If I just like, I don't know. I need the option to change.
Are you someone who's like constantly updating like their room like flow and stuff, or do you keep your rooms like the same?
I don't have much in my room because like it's just a place for me to sleep and like
Hmm.
my wardrobe. But like other rooms, like my craft room, and yeah, I do like spicing things up. Like when I feel like it's not every day, but like periodically, like maybe a couple of times a year, I would do like small changes. I wouldn't just like redecorate and like color, like paint the walls and everything, but uh like move stuff around, move this over here. Yeah, I like little changes. I like the option to change things.
I reckon that's a pretty important, probably the most important thing, like quality to have as someone who is in such a fluid work environment and like, no one's gonna make Ribblr like move unless you're. I mean, y'all are in charge. Like, it only exists because you exist. So that's a really important quality. I feel. Since we are coming up to kind of our hour, I guess we've already hit. I have just a few more questions for you. For those here, we've talked a little bit about the past and kind of how you've gotten here and your qualities. What are looking ahead for Ribblr? You don't have to give anything away, but kind of like what are your hopes that you have for the platform? If you want to look back at this time capsule of an episode, what are your hopes for Ribblr as a whole?
My hope is that everybody that crafts and and for now it's yarn art, but like in the future, so if we're talking about future, that everybody who crafts, their first the first place that they go to do anything would be Ribblr, like their go-to.
Mm.
Because it's easy, because it has lots of different like things that you can explore and find, because you have your community there, because you have all your tools there, all your like everything. That's where I want Ribblr to be, like in every crafter's pocket. Like, yeah,
So
that
really,
definitely working towards that.
so really, just a household name, like
Yeah,
Ribbler becoming synonymous with crafts, which
yeah, exactly.
I think is definitely on its way. I mean, for me, if I'm gonna look up a pattern, I just go look up on Ribbler, and I think the many thousands of other people do that as well. So definitely already on its way. That's a good hope. I hope we can look back even like in a year's time and see that is all coming to fruition. Do you have any advice for people who it doesn't have to be as big as a startup, but someone who just wants to pursue something that's a little out of their comfort zone?
Um, well, I think a few years ago, Shia LaBeouf said it better than I do. Like, just do it. It doesn't have to be perfect. It doesn't need to kind of like be. Um, I find that a lot of the times we just give ourselves excuses of why not to do something.
Right.
And I think maybe if instead of like saying why not to do something, we'll say the opposite, like why it's good to, like the pros of doing it. And then just focus on those and operate. Just do it, knowing that the pros are really the key factor that what like leads you to creating whatever it is that you want to create.
Yeah, that's good advice. Yeah, I guess that is like the default is to assume or to think about all the reasons why you shouldn't do something, which I wonder where that comes from. If that's like such a universal, I mean, it seems like a universal human thing, not so much just like a
Yeah,
cultural thing. Um,
it's a universal human thing, and um it's hard. It's hard when the world tells you, like, especially if it's something that is goes not against, but maybe not the same um stream as everything else, like the roadmap of like everything and everyone around you. And then it's really hard to pursue something that is like kind of like defies that, because you don't have that support. Even for us, like nobody in my family has done something like that, and they were like kind of like, are you sure?
Oh
Like
yeah.
it's very risky. Yeah, you sure?
It's a valid question.
And
I mean,
yeah,
you know,
yeah, yeah.
that that makes
It's hard. It's hard. I understand that it's hard.
it is hard, but luckily, I think one of the biggest things to have is community. It's always like you said, like you kind of look to your family to kind of get their input and stuff, which I think it's just when it comes to crafts, that's what makes Ribblr so awesome is the the community section is becoming so large and just massive. So it's really cool to be it's easier to be scared when you're scared with like a lot of other people rather than just like by yourself.
Yeah, I mean, well, it just makes you feel seen because, like, for me, I used to be like the odd one in the group, kind of like the not the weirdo, like some people might have called me. I didn't see myself as weird. I've just seen myself as kind of like not following like the norm and what other people were doing. And if I had access to like community that was more aligned with how I felt, I might have felt like less alone. But and that's why it's so like heartwarming to see that Ribblr provides this space for so many people. And we hear it from many people that Ribblr is like their home, and they're in on the community every day, and
Hmm.
they have all their friends, and they meet like their friends on Ribblr, so they create friendships. That's incredible. Like eh, it's unheard of for me. That's like wow. I facilitated like that, like people making friends, people creating their own community. So yeah, that's incredible for me.
Yeah, if it can have like the same effect, like because I look back like at like MySpace and like AIM with such fond memories, and hopefully Ribbler can be that for so many people who are coming into this space. And I think that's like there's not really like us. That's like a big complaint with like the fiber craft industry. Really, is there's just like no dedicated space. Like you have all your social media kind of like ripping you away from people that you love. Unfortunately, when it comes to patterns, it's just a marketplace. There's no real. Maybe I'm just like not as in it, but it seems like Ribbler it really is doing something special. And even if I wasn't a part of the company, these are my honest words for the audience because I mean you just really can't deny the impact and effect. And I think a lot of other companies will probably follow suit. So maybe Ribbler won't stand out as much anyways, but at least it's had that impact. I mean, stand out. It'll always stand out, but like where we are now, we're doing everything so different that it just is like kind of like I feel like Ribbler's kind of like the wild card in the community, which I say
Well,
that with
I
my
see it
endearing heart.
I see it as paving the way. And
Paving the
obviously
way. There
when
we
you
go.
create something that people want to use and then there's a demand for that, then other like maybe more slower moving companies would also want to join and kind of like not fall behind. So yeah, we are paving the way, I would say, for the new wave of like crafting. I can say, yeah.
Yeah, paving the way. That's exactly my roundabout way of trying to say trailblazing, paving the way.
Yeah.
Yeah, so many amazing things. I know it's late for you over in the UK. We really appreciate having you here, and I wasn't able to go over the comments because like we were speaking, but we have a lot of nice things people are saying, especially about like your designs, the slippers, some nice comments on the testing features and everything. So all amazing. I never even asked, did you make your cardigan that you're wearing today?
Yes, it's one of the patterns on Ribblr as well. I
Oh, let's
think so.
go.
Yeah. Yeah. So
Dang.
the cherry blossom kimono.
Yeah. Oh, that's so pretty. I've never. Is that a bunch of granny squares put together?
It's like a cherry blossom granny square that I designed. And
Wow.
and yeah, it's a bunch of them.
That's so cool. I've always wanted to make like a granny square put together piece of wearable. I've just never done it. One day.
I would say just start with a regular granny square. This one is a bit more intense. It's not hard. It's just like go for the proper shape. I know that you kind of like postponing this your meetup with granny square making, but at some point you will. I'm sure you will.
I just feel more edgy now than anything I can say I haven't made one. I've made all these other things. I just haven't done a granny square. Do you have any last remarks that you want to make to those watching or those who will watch in the future when they check it out on YouTube?
Um, I just like thank you. I really don't think that we could have been where we are without the support of people who enjoy Ribblr and come to Ribblr every day. Just like by opening the app, tuning in, getting a pattern, using it. That's it. Like that's all they need to do. And this is really what I get up to. Like just like seeing how like the excitement about people that use Ribblr. So just keep crafting and yeah, that's all I want.
Well, probably no better perfect words from our one of our founders here. So I'm not going to taint it. I'm going to let that be the the feelings and energy that we put out into the world after this episode. So thank you so much, Lear. I know you're a busy person. So thank you so much for coming on by and saying hi to the audience, to all the users, and we really, really appreciate having you here. It has been honestly a pleasure
Yeah.
even to getting to know you even more. It's been a few years, but there's always new things to learn, and it's awesome to hear more insight about it all.
Yeah, thank you. It was really fun. I really enjoyed that. I like yeah, just like also reminiscing and kind of like looking back. It's not something you do every day, so for me it's like, oh yeah, yeah.
Yeah, right. Yeah, definitely. It is. It is. It's cool to hear too. Just like, and I can hear the passion behind your voice. I'm sure everyone else can too. So, thanks for being such a great person and creating such an awesome, safe space for so many crafters. Everyone I know appreciates what Ribblr has done for the community.
Thank you so much.
All
Yeah,
right.
and really excited about the future as well.
Yeah, we are as well. Well, I'll say our goodbyes to everybody, but we'll see you hopefully on another show when more. Yeah, we'll obviously want to
What?
keep everyone
Yeah,
in touch. So,
exactly.
so you'll
Yeah,
be
let me know. Let me know when you want me back, and I'll prepare some more news and updates just for that.
absolutely awesome. Well, thank you so much, and we will see you next time.
Bye, Vincent.
All
Bye,
right,
everybody.
bye, Lear. Bye. Oh, that was so fun. Yeah. Wow, that was really insightful. Leah and I, we work together, and we've known each other for a few years now, and we just met face to face during my time in England last week. And yeah, that's you just keep learning more about people, and it's really truly inspirational. Um, so that was really fun to kind of get to know her a bit more, kind of hear some insight and the mind behind Ribblr. There's a lot more that goes into Ribblr. Like she said, she helped co-found the company, so there's a lot to talk about, and there's only so much that we can get out of someone in an hour. So really awesome to hear about that. You can rewatch the entire thing. It'll be on YouTube. We'll have to post some snippets onto to socials because that was a really great interview. Really, like I said, I feel like insightful is the word for it. So thank you everyone for coming. That is the end of our show today. Make sure you are checking out our Pride Roundup that was posted on the community section. Make sure to celebrate. It's the weekend. Check out that screensaver that we have. It'll go live on YouTube, but also on the landing page. And yeah, thank you so much, everybody, for coming. It has been an honor to be your host once again. Sorry for missing last week. We have our week off next week, and then the following we will be back for some more fun stuff. So thanks everyone for coming, and we will see you next time. Thanks again. Bye-bye.